I want to talk to you guys, like Daniel was saying, about the signs that we hear from our body, alerting us to any kinds of issues. We've got emotional issues and physical issues that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So, firstly, I want to tell you guys that you matter most in your life. You know, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of your loved ones. And actually, when we take care of ourselves first, we're far better able to take care of the people around us. And far more likely to do a better job at our work as well. So, one of the signs that I've noticed, it's a kind of a secondary sign, because some of the first signs are really small and we don't necessarily always listen. One of the secondary signs is when we're with our family and we're short with our family. We're snapping at the people that we love. That is a clear sign for us to listen to ourselves, that we're not doing enough for ourselves, that we need to take the time to figure out what it is that we need to do to enjoy our lives a little bit more, to live a little bit more truly in line with ourselves. And when we listen to that and we do things like making a model car, going for a mountain bike ride, anything like that, we find that we're more able to deal with our families in a peaceful way, and we're really more excited in our lives and feel more fulfilled in our lives. So, like I say, some of the primary signs, they're subtle. It's you're telling yourself, you know, I really want to change. I really feel like I need to take a break right now, or things like that. And we don't really listen. We just continue on doing the things that we're doing, and then it gets to these secondary signs, and then it gets even, if we're not listening to those signs, there's a third set of signs, and we'll talk about all of that in a minute. But I want to tell you about one of my friends and a client. She kind of went through all of the levels of signs, and then at the end it ended up forcing her life to change. So it all started where she wanted a change of career. She wasn't satisfied in the job that she was in. She knew exactly what she wanted to do, but she was a little scared to make that step. And so she talked about it. She talked about it to everybody, the things that she wanted to do, but she never really made the steps to do it. And so on and on it went, and eventually she started having physical pain, and so she came to see me. I'm a massage therapist, so I dealt with her physical pain. It wasn't anything I hadn't dealt with before, just the types of things that come along with repetitive strain, repetitive activity. So we treated that, and I told her, you know, if you're gonna ruin your body, you should be doing it with something that you really love. Otherwise, it's not worth ruining your body over. So, you know, she really decided this is the time. There's no better time than now. And she went to school, started taking the course. Now, she stayed in the secondary job just to pay the bills. She did it on the weekends. But she went to school and she was feeling great. She didn't really have a lot of pain, even though she had the increased workload of the school, and also she was still doing that other job. She was doing good. And then it came time for graduation, and it's time for her to start her career. And the career she wanted to open her own business. She was going to be great at it too. So she wants to open her own business. There's a lot of work that comes into that. There's a lot of overhead and things like that. And it's scary again. So she backed up and it's continued. Now she's got student loans, so she started doing the job again, full force, and trying on the weekends to plan for this business. And yeah, things really started getting hard for her. She started getting headaches. She started snapping at her partner. And one of the reasons she was snapping at her partner is because she felt she needed to quit this job, and she needed the financial support of her partner, but she was really scared to ask him. So she started snapping at him instead of telling him what she needed and asking him to help. She was really hoping that he would just get it, which, you know, we all know how that goes. So, this was her scenario. This went on for a little while until one day she was biking home and she hit a patch of gravel and the bike fell and she broke her arm. Took care of everything, actually. She came in, she had to do some treatments, you know, broken arm, not a good thing to have. But I looked at her when she walked in and I said, this is the best thing that's ever gonna happen to you. And she was really confused, but we found out later that it was true. She couldn't do the job anymore. Her job was waitressing and she broke her waiting arm. So done with the job. She's now at home, but she can still plan for her career. She had the time. The partner, he took over no problem anyways. He was a part of this team. He was never going to have a problem with it. He just needed to be guided. So he took over all the financial burden. She planned her life, and now they're both very successful. And so you see all the examples here. At first, you know, she had those thought signals, and when she followed it, things started happening in her life. And then she stepped back, and then she had more of the thought signals, and then a little bit of the secondary signals, the snapping at the family, the headaches, things like that. And then eventually it was the third set of signals, which ended up for her to be the broken arm. She was really lucky that it was a broken arm and not something more insidious. Hers was a job, and that's a lot of the time our stress is our jobs. We're maybe in a job that we can't leave, like she had the ability to go do a career that was going to pay her better than her job. We don't always have that ability. So sometimes we're stuck in this career that our passion will never exceed the financial gains of this job. So in that case, you know, one of the things that we really have to do for ourselves is to enlist our passions. We have to, if you want to go out and do mountain biking, if you want to again make model airplanes, you owe it to yourself basically to do those things, to give yourself the quality of life that you deserve. It's more important than you know, because when we don't do those things, then the pressure starts to build and you get more signals, and then if we don't listen to ourselves, a lot of health issues come out of not listening to what our body is telling us. So you've got the job that you're not quite fond of, but you're taking care of yourself and you're doing the things outside of work that you love, and so life is good and you're able to do that job that you're not very fond of well, because you know you've got all the other things in life that make you happy. But then there's different scenarios, like if you're in a job that is physically hurting you. So then I deal with this kind of on a regular basis. You owe it to yourself to demand, and by demand I mean ask your employer for an ergonomic assessment. You know, you can save yourself chronic injury. That's what happens if you start to feel those little aches and pains and you don't listen. Then those little aches and pains get bigger and you end up with frozen shoulder. We probably have colleagues and friends that we all know that have frozen shoulder, tendinitis, even degenerative disc disorder. All of these things can be prevented from just when you first start to feel your body is uncomfortable, you need to change your workstation. You know, it's easy as that. Those small aches and pains are your primary signals for physical injury. Secondary are when it's a little more prolonged, and then when you get to the chronic, you've got tendinitis or you've got debilitating physical injury like frozen shoulder. You're going to be needing therapy for an extended period of time. It's unacceptable for us to live like that when we could have just months ago had an ergonomic assessment and our workstation is good. So, the physical stuff, that's really easy to deal with. You change your station, you make yourself more physically and posturally assessed, and you're finished. But then we've got the emotional stuff, and the emotional side of life is the far more insidious, because that's the kind of stuff when you have emotional stress that you don't get rid of, then that leads to the chronic illnesses like cancer and growths and heart disease and things like this. Now, some of this stuff has to do with your diet, obviously, but when it's things like cancer, you would have had many signs beforehand to take care of yourself. And if we neglect these emotional signs, you know, it's not a nice road. So some of the things that we can do beforehand is, if you're in, say, a high stress profession and you love this profession, you don't want to leave it, you know, you need to take an hour a day to calm yourself so that you're better able to do this job. If you have a life scenario where you've got an illness in the family, someone that, you know, you're taking care of, and it's day in and day out, you don't want to stop taking care of them. There's no benefit to you for that. But if it's a prolonged period of time, you end up becoming drained, and you're not doing the best job taking care of this family member that, you know, they really need you. So you have to step back and you have to take that time for yourself, an hour a day or a couple hours a week, whatever it is, to do what it is that brings you passion in life. You know, go shoot a target, you know, do whatever it is that brings you passion in life so that you're better able to deal with your family member that's ill. They're going to appreciate it more, and you're going to appreciate taking care of them a lot more, and taking care of them in the way that is really beneficial to both of you. If you're just doing those little things for yourself, it's really that simple. It's giving yourself permission to demand the best quality of life for yourself, and that means taking care of yourself. So one of the scenarios that I've seen in my life, it's my mom, and she also went through a lot of these different stages. For her, it was a relationship that was abusive, and in her life, you're not supposed to leave your family. You're not supposed to break up a family. You made this decision, and you've got to stick with it. And I think a lot of people end up in scenarios like this where they really don't feel like they have an option to leave. So they end up, you know, first thoughts, oh, I should leave, but no, I can't leave. Secondary thoughts, instead of picking at your family in a scenario like this, a lot of the time people shut down, they become the shell. And what happens when you're a shell and you don't take care of yourself is the body decides that it's going to fill itself up. And it usually doesn't fill itself up with anything good. You have to do that. You've got to fill yourself up with the things in life that you love. So for my mom, the first signs after she realized that she wanted to leave but couldn't was that she ended up with a thyroid growth. So she felt that. She went to the doctor, had that removed, and really that would have been a good indication for her, you need to leave. But she didn't. She stayed in her marriage and continued feeling that stress and continual everyday stress. The body, if there's nothing really wrong with the body and your body's releasing this intense stress hormone all the time, the body searches for something that is wrong, and it'll find the smallest thing that is wrong. And for my mom, it was blockages in her chest. So it led to breast cancer. And you can just imagine what happened from there. My mom passed away from breast cancer, never really realizing that she needed to take care of herself first. So that's why I'm here to kind of really encourage each and every one of us to take the steps, listen to the little voice in the head that says, I need a break here, I need to go for a coffee or go for a walk, I need to leave this job, I need to leave this relationship. Because if we stay and we don't listen to those signals, then we get secondary signs, and secondary signs aren't fun to deal with, but the final signs, those ones we can't get away from oftentimes. My girlfriend that had the broken arm, her final signs were a beautiful thing. You know, it was a really great ending to her story, but it doesn't always come out that way. So I just want you all to know that you absolutely matter most in this life, and that you owe it to yourself to give yourself the quality of life that you deserve. So thank you.